Now, among those tracking the flooding concerns today is Chautauqua County Executive PJ Wendell, who joins us live now in studio. Thank you so much for coming in today, sir. Now, first, I want to get the latest from you on where things are standing right now in Chautauqua County as we do get ready to deal with these heavy rains that are expected this afternoon and the subsequent snow melt as well.
Well, first thing this morning, there was an alert issued for possible evacuation at Silver Creek due to flooding concerns. I know our crews, along with those from Silver Creek, were on location, making sure that everything was working properly. The ice jam did break. It started to flow, and the water's flowing as it should right now, Walnut Creek, down into Silver Creek, and into Lake Erie. Reached out to people in Sunset Bay. They're monitoring the situation as well. So we want all of our residents to realize we are, the towns, villages, and the county are working together to mitigate this problem. But right now, we're at the mercy of Mother Nature. We do have a lot of rain coming. With that break, as you mentioned in the forecast, should give us some time to take a deep breath here and evaluate situations. But all in all, we've worked together as we always have in these situations, and now we're just, it's a wait and see approach to make sure that, if the flooding, we start to see those ice jams break up, we will have equipment in place to break it up and get the water flowing.
Yeah, and I know that's a big problem, as you mentioned, for those in the North County living along rivers that flow into Lake Erie. For some, it seems like they've been dealing with this problem over and over again anytime that we have a big melt. Is there anything in your experience or that the county would want to see done to maybe try to help alleviate some of these issues that seems to be seasonal, where we have these flood emergencies in many cases because of the ice?
Well, certainly. One of the things we talked about this morning with the town supervisor, highway supervisor in the Sunset Bay area is there a project we could undertake, would have to take federal and state monies to assure these don't happen. Again, if you're along the Lake Erie shoreline, the last 3 years we've dealt with significant weather patterns and weather situations. The word SAISH has been brought to mind several times. So the crews are incredible. They know what to do, very proactive. They began mustering last evening, started getting equipment ready. First thing, once the rain started, the thaw started, they were on hand, making sure everything was taken care of. These things are things that the highway departments in the county as well. We maintain our creeks and waterways to make sure that we don't have this flooding. But everybody we like ice for ice fishing. Well, that ice jams and the water doesn't flow, so it all plays into it. Sometimes things work very well. Sometimes we get caught. But hats off to our crews, our road crews in the towns, villages, and our county doing a tremendous job right now, and they're the experts. Right. I touch base with them, ask what we can do to help and assist, but they know how to do it, so I get out of the way and let them do their work.
Does this go back to dredging at all, and does that play a part? I know a lot of times they say if you can kind of prepare the river for winter, in many cases the ice could flow better.
I know there are some areas where we talked about, especially Silver Creek in the mouth as it goes into Lake Erie, but people say it's just not as easy as getting in there and digging out. You have to have permits. You have to make sure you don't disturb certain levels of the bottom. So it's more complicated than just going in and digging out. But our crews do have the necessary permits needed. But really, what they're asking, I spoke with Mr. Pelletier this morning. The Sunset Bay. The concern is, what can we do to prevent this from being an annual occurrence? It seems that these seiches or drastic thaws and rain and flooding is becoming more and more of a continuum in certain areas. So what can we do? And these are big projects that involve not only Chautauqua County, but they involve the state, they involve U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. So we're working in concert right now with the Army Corps and other projects. We're going to continue. So again, we are contacting state and federal officials and asking for help. But it's a big project. It is going to be have a large dollar amount to it should those projects start to get underway.
Yeah. And I know in addition to the flooding, obviously the rain coming down causing issues, and I hear that we're having problems at the county building today. What is the situation there?
We lost power in the Jurassic office building right in the middle of our audit and control committee meeting. So if you were live streaming that was the reason for the feed to go down. As I was out driving, I found actually on our way here with another stop, we found that the reason for the water, the power outage was water actually leaking in at a heavy amount into our electrical subpanels in the basement of the Jurassic office building. So those employees at the Jurassic office building were sent home. The power was shut off to the building. We do have crews there assessing the situation. It looks like there's going to be some extensive work to make the situation correct, but it's still too early to determine. I know my staff is on hand, doing a great job keeping me informed, but as of right now, Jurassic office building is being closed along with the courthouse. So we ask people, if you do have events there, to please contact your designated offices to find out what the status is. I don't know exactly what things were relocated, right. But I know we've had some meetings. They've all been canceled in the Jurassic office building for today.
And finally here, I know that the flooding isn't just up to that northern part of the county, but a flood watch in effect for all of our area. You are an active volunteer firefighter in Lakewood. What are some of the things that you'd be looking out for tonight? Call-wise, do you expect? And finally, we hear this all the time, turn around, don't drown. How crucial is that message for people to stay safe throughout the evening as water rises?
Well, that's the big thing. We don't have too many issues in the village of Lakewood, but there are certain in our fire district, there's certain areas right now that I'm sure our road crews are out in the town of Busti. We know the back corner of the mall parking lot tends to be a large lake. I've seen cars floating across the water at certain times. Different areas. I know, personally, my house, I check the basement. We ask everyone, check your basements as, the water does start to, with the ice there, the water isn't able to get in and saturate the ground. So it might get on top of that ice and flow into, a window or a crack in the foundation or anything. So again, beware, be clear, what the status of your own home is, but don't venture into creeks or any type of waterways you're not 100% sure of. If you notice the water start to rise, evacuate, reach out to, whether it's the fire department, police agencies, let people know if you have issues. But please try not to, if you have large amounts of water, please not try to tackle it yourself. Ask for help. And, our fire departments have been very easy to help people. And it's one of the things we do. Many people are trained in, water rescue, cold water rescue. Right now, as I was driving here from the airport, there was a lot of road on the shoulders, which is going to happen when these ditches overflow because there's
right.
ice and snow. So this is Mother Nature. Unfortunately, Western New York, this is the downside of everything we hope for in snow and ice. So.
Right, and a lot of times those flooded basements, as you mentioned there, fire crews can come and assist in that, and definitely you got to be mindful of where your power boxes are too. I think an important point, because you don't want that water level to rise beyond that.
Well, certainly, Justin. But I can remember an issue years ago where the power for an apartment complex was underground, and water was leaking in, and basically had energized. It was so much that the water inside was probably about 3 or 4 feet deep, was actually creating steam. It was like a giant sauna. We were told by National Grid, had anybody gone into that basement, would have been electrocuted by 8 services from homes going into that water. So yes, if your electrical service is in the basement and it starts to get up to that electric service box, it's best you call for help and keep an eye on it. Most people know what happens right. and how high the water comes. So we ask residents and neighbors to check on one another, but also check your surroundings, your homes, and make sure that the water isn't starting to come in.